want to share a concept with you for those of you who are already in an online learning space, which I assume many of you are. How many of you already have some sort of online learning that you're responsible for or work with, something like that? Okay, so most of you, okay, that's what I thought. So, if you're already in an online learning space, but it's not one that's really facilitating the social collaboration, there's a concept that I like to talk about, which is really easy to implement. It's this idea of layering social interaction on top of existing online environments. And a really good example of that is a tool called Knol. Are anybody familiar with Knol? Okay, cool. Act surprised while I show this tool. So Knol is Google's attempt, Google's version of a wiki tool. But it's very interesting. Let's do something real quick here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go to Wikipedia. And now Wikipedia is a good example of bringing people together, right? It's constructed with a whole bunch of people, social knowledge, and all this stuff we've been talking about. But there's an interesting thing in Wikipedia. Let's look at this page, for example, on its community practice page. Actually, I haven't seen this in a while. But if you look at it, what strikes you, if we look at the page just based on real estate, the amount of real estate it takes up, what is the predominant amount where most real estate is devoted to? Almost all of it is text content. You know, there's some pictures in the intro, but it's this content right in that middle stuff. And then the stuff on the left is some navigation. I mean, you gotta have some amount of navigation that sort of gives kind of overhead for a site. And the rest is content. So Wikipedia is optimized around delivering content. Okay. Now let's look at this same example. Let's go over to Knol, and let's go into here and we'll do the same thing. Communities of practice, and we'll go in here and let's pick that article. Oh, that looks like a good article. I don't know who wrote it. I trust it. This is a good article. Okay, so let's look at Knol for a second here, and let me just show you some of the functionality of Knol. First of all, you see obviously a title and a summary, but then you start to see some interesting things happening here that you didn't see on Wikipedia. One of them is you see who wrote it. So there's a sense of ownership isn't the right word, it's still collaboration, but right, of connecting to the person behind it. Then you see people who contributed to it. Matt Levitt, in this case, contributed to it. Then you see what other people think of it. Okay, do you see what other people think of it? Then you get a sense of the other people who have visited it. Then you get some reviews. There happen to not be reviews on this, but reviews of other people who said, hey, here's what I think. Then you see other stuff that I've participated in. And then if you go down here, you see comments that other people have made on the page. So if you looked at this page purely through the real estate lens that we looked at Wikipedia through, the percentage of the page dedicated to content is probably 40%, maybe less. I mean, if you realize that this kind of goes down the side here, maybe it's closer to 30% content. And all of the other space is dedicated to connecting people to each other. And so what they've done here is they've taken the wiki model and they've layered on top of it social interactivity that didn't exist in Wikipedia. And that's the same principle that you can think about as you look at existing online learning environments. So one quick example, one tool that I particularly like for delivering online learning is a tool called Moodle. Anybody familiar with Moodle? Yeah, nice, okay. That's one to go take a look at if you're not familiar with it. It's a learning content delivery system, like a whole bunch that are out there. But Moodle has some interesting features in it that allow you to layer on social learning content. Something as simple as having the ability to see on the side of the page other people that are online at the same time you are. That's really simple. I mean, we're talking, there's nothing crazy there, but it's the ability to connect not just to the content, but to the other people that are involved with it, right? And then you can start to do some other cool things. Moodle happens to be built on an open source platform, so you can do things like you can take social networking tools, ELG and some others, and collide them together and make a little bit of an LMS mashup. It sounds so much cooler when you say it that way. An LMS mashup, yeah, cool. Okay, and then you can have even more connectivity layered on top of this content. It doesn't even have to be in the same site. You don't have to have a systems engineer to do it. You can just point people to multiple sites. So this idea of, you don't have to throw out what we already have. It's take the existing content that we have, if it's online, and find ways to layer on and mix throughout the social learning elements so that we can have some of this higher level learning